Okay, so how do I talk about this? Basically, my wine subscription came in. I've got 12 bottles, y'all. Whatever. Like, fuck you and your feelings. Nobody asked you. This is not the point. Okay. So, what we're talking about today is liberalism because, well, actually, we're talking about the Young American Foundation. We're talking about the Young American Foundation because there's a talk happening tonight, and I want to give you my this is a conversation I had in real life today, and I thought, here's what I thought. For some reason, I thought that Nashville was extremely conservative, and it is compared to where I'm from. I'm from California. I'm from Berkeley. I'm from the Bay Area. And I think it's because of the Black Panther Party, because of Angela Davis, because of socialism and communism, because of People's Park, because of San Francisco and social urban development and like drug addiction rehab programs and the availability of them. It's like exacerbated in this way where that doesn't give me like a normal lens into these issues. Like I understand like the liberal point of view because that's all I had, but in a lot of other parts of the world, the conservative point of view is the normal one. Like some people have like never heard the liberal point of view, like they don't even know we exist. For me it was the other way. I didn't know the other side exists. Now I didn't realize that, but I guess so. Where I'm living right now, I live near this university called Vanderbilt. I would say it's very comparative to like a UC Berkeley, but it's very like liberal leaning, and I didn't understand that. And I guess even when I think about it now, I'm gonna have to like look a little bit more into like neoliberalism, which I always hear like black content creators talking about this, but I feel like I don't understand technically like what they're saying. Like I'm kind of confused about like what they believe it is in relation to like what other people believe it is, what you might believe it is. Like I don't think we're all saying the same thing. I'm not sure about this, but I don't think we're all saying the same thing. Anyway, so there's a talk tonight by the Young American Foundation, and I'm gonna go. And now I was talking to another student on campus about this. And she was like, I don't know how tonight's gonna go. I'm kind of afraid. And I was like, oh my God, me too. So we both actually have the same sentiment, and she's from Connecticut, and she was basically saying how in Connecticut it's also very liberal, and like conservatives are being like silenced. And I was like, wait, what? And I thought that this was just like a joke for a second because like we're in the Bible Belt still. So how are conservatives being quieted in the Bible Belt? That doesn't make sense. Except it actually makes the most sense when you think about like what is happening with like power and like academia. And really like kind of like I would say like critical theory and critical thinking for the first time. Like imagine if you only grew up with like your parents in your little town. Like what if everyone was Belle from the Beauty and the Beast, right? Everyone's Belle. No one's visited a large town before. They've all just been in this small ass town for a long time. All they know is like what their parents said, what their neighbors said. They don't know that there's like a bigger world out there. People who have political beliefs that are so different from their own. They don't know that. And like all I've known is that. All I've known is like every person, the way that I grew up, every person is an individual. Like you can't look at somebody's race and understand if they're black or white. You can't look at somebody's skin tone and understand if they're African or white. You can't look at the language that somebody's speaking and determine if it's their first language or if it's their second language. You can't look at somebody's house to determine how much education they have. Like all the paradoxes and the like propaganda that I feel like a lot of you guys were not. Yeah, I mean, I honestly probably you guys. I don't think that I'm not saying that my viewers are simple, but I don't think that I've done a great job of explaining like the intersectionality of my own experience, but I do want to start unpacking that on a deeper level, and we're getting there piece by piece. We're getting there. But like the way that I grew up, it was like every person's an individual. Like I have stories about every family that I grew up with. Every person has a different story, and I know those stories, and I'm familiar with those stories, and I'm a part of those stories in some way. Because like I was like actually a community member. Like I actually engaged with the people around me, and some relationships I chose to end, some people choose to end relationships with me, some I moved away. I just didn't feel like an affiliation. There was a period of time when I had to do self exploration. Like all these things had to do with like me becoming like who I am. And like a lot of that has to do with like understanding the culture and value of my neighbors, and I don't think that that's something that everyone is familiar with. So in my perception of liberalism is like is it heterogeneity, is that how you're saying it? Like basically this like everyone is not the same. I think that you get the most harmony and peace when everyone is the same. Like if we're just talking about a quality of life where like it's literally like the Beauty and the Beast song with Belle where she's singing in that small town. That's the realest like that was the best song probably ever written. Like that particular experience needed to be said because like I don't think y'all understand how the rest of us are like experiencing society. Like things don't really change here. All my days are the same. I mean, like more shit. Like there's like more stories to tell, but like the stories actually don't have to do with like me. I'm telling you, I could tell you a lot of stories, and I will on my Patreon. But to be honest, even when I think about all the tragedy that's happened in my life, all of the main characters in the tragedy are not me because I have been soaked into the homogeny. Like homogeny has been my life. I actually haven't changed that much. The people around me have been trying. Some of them, like my parents, some community members, some boyfriends, have tried to introduce chaos, right? And that's caused me to be like, "What the fuck is this?" And kind of like not understand it and freak out. Like if an alien were to come right now and just plop in front of you, you'd be like, "What the fuck?" You'd be like, "Oh my god!" Everything would be like nuts, right? A lot of shit like that has happened. Like when I'm introduced to something that is like not comfortable, that it's like unorthodox, that's like beyond the like very stagnant and like comfortable American middle class experience, it fucking knocks me off my rocker. This is my rocker. I fall right off and I freak the fuck out. Like I have to be introduced to it in chunks. I have to have like a story about it that I've heard, that I've read, that I've unpacked, that I have strong feelings about, that I can process before, and then I can gradually be introduced to it. That's actually what it's like for most middle class American girls. We have to see movies from like, or hear music. You have to have some sort of introduction to counterculture where it's not just like this completely like foreign concept. For me, because I've been racialized before I've been socialized, like I've had to like jump in and dive head first into like some of the like counterculture critiques that have just been shocking, you know? Anyway, these are kind of my thoughts before the YAF talk. We'll come back after.